यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशर्षभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Shri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita chapter number 15. Shri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaha. अथ पंचदशोऽध्यायः पुरुषोत्तमयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित्। The name of this chapter is Purushottama Yoga. Now Purusha means not a male. In Sanskrit, there is a meaning so which indicates a male, a person. Here, that is not the meaning. Okay. The meaning of this word here, Uttama Purushaha, Nirguna Chaitanyam. Okay, that is the main bedrock of this chapter. Okay, so we will see the meaning of this word later on. Now this chapter comes in the third Shatkam. Third Shatkam means what? Bhagavad Gita has got 3 Shatkam. The third Shatkam, which contains 6 chapters, chapter number 12 to 18, so it comes as a middle chapter of the 6th chapter. From 13th chapter to 18th chapter, we can say it becomes a middle part of the third Shatkam, but it is the final chapter of the subject matter which began from chapter number 13. This chapter concludes everything which began from the 13th chapter. 13th chapter itself a complete chapter, but that chapter is elaborated in different way so that person can understand he is nothing but Gunathita. Now we can understand in simple way. These 3 chapters, 13, 14, 15, all of them containing one topic. That topic can be named as a Jnana Yoga. Now Jnana Yoga means what? The chapters are a path which is based on knowledge. Now knowledge is the target, knowledge is the means, knowledge is the discipline. All of them are knowledge. The knowledge about Jivatma and Paramatma, the equation of Jivatma and Paramatma, knowledge of the equation. Therefore in 13th chapter we have completely depended on equating in between 2 kshetra kshetrajnayoho madhye equation aikya bhava. That's what the big deal in our life. Every Mahavakyam, do you know what does it mean? Mahavakyam. Mahavakyam means Maha means a huge, great. Maha means also, a huge, big in size. It's not, the sentence is not big in size, but the sentence is greater in the content. The greatest content can be, our greatest knowledge can be only the equation of these 2, individual consciousness and the collective consciousness. That itself the supreme invention till now in this creation. There cannot be any other knowledge, or there cannot be any other superior knowledge than this knowledge. No matter what kind of improvement we get in our science, because this invention, I call it invention. So when you discover yourself as a collective consciousness, then our personal problems will be gone. This is like, all other knowledge, the worldly knowledge will give a kind of benefits. When you understand about something, you can be benefited through that something. That's a particular knowledge. But you won't get rid of your samsara. That samsara means what? Problems. The problems are experienced. The human being, we do have the problems. What kind of problems? We do have many problems. Financial crisis and all kinds of pollutions, noise pollution and sound pollutions and environment pollution. All those things are, they are considered as a problem, but the real problems are not known, not understood properly by the human being. These first two verses from 15th chapter, they explain us what the real problem that we have, up to verse number 3, I suppose. Yeah, these 3 verses, they explain what the real problems which we undergo every second in our life. Now the problem must be introduced. Okay, samsaram, the meaning of the word is to be understood by every human being. Then alone they will make a proper effort. Why should I understand the meaning of samsara? Because then alone you will find the value of the word moksha. The problem must be understood first. Okay, any knowledge in this world is valuable. The knowledge about outer things, the knowledge about the world, it has got its own benefit, but those benefits are limited. They are limited, they won't bring the mortality, but the knowledge of the self which will bring the mortality, knowledge of the self which is endowed with the equation, that knowledge must be assimilated, it has to be converted, it has to be converted from indirect to direct. Because you may find a little bit difficult today, but don't worry. See, how to convert indirect to direct. When you hear the knowledge of some place, there is a place called Ganganani in the Himalayas. You hear it first time. When you hear it, you will get a kind of knowledge, that knowledge which is based on guessing work. You do inference. Okay, that knowledge, like it would be like this. The Ganganani, how it would be. If somebody says, have you gone to Rishikesh? Yes, I gone to Rishikesh. Have you gone to the interior part of, the footpath of Himalayas in the Rishikesh? Yes, I have gone. So it would be like that. Now this person who has visited Rishikesh, therefore he has the knowledge of Rishikesh, then he can inference, okay, this will be the similar to Rishikesh. Then he will be having his own idea. That is known as indirect knowledge. But when he goes to Ganganani, and he finds, yes, so these are all the similarities. This is the real Ganganani. Now the knowledge is being converted into direct. The same way, the knowledge of the self, the knowledge of the collective consciousness introduced first, the converting job is done by these 3 chapters. They make us to assimilate. Gunatita, the Viveka, the knowledge of Gunatita, which makes us to assimilate, which makes ourselves more clear with the identity which is beyond Guna. that entity which is nothing but Purushottama. That's what the chapter number 15 is. The chapter number 15 supports the chapter number 14. That is the glory of 15th chapter, but which comes the final chapter of the topic of equation. After this chapter, Bhagavan is not going to deal with the equation, but the equation must be completed with Purushottama. There is one sukta called Purusha Suktam. It begins with, vast perception. Sagasrasirusha Purusha. That's all. That one word is enough to explain this 15th chapter. Sagasrasirusha Purusha Sagasrakshas Sagasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Viratva Atyatishthadashangulam Purusha Evedagum Sarvam Idam Sarvam Purushameva. That is the meaning of this chapter number 15. So this is traditional way of looking into that, but the benefit which we get out of this is complete freedom and varieties of knowledge and useful things also we will become to know through this chapter. Let us enter into the words. Let me read it once again. Urdhvamolavadhashakham ashwatham prahuravyayam chandamsi yasya parunani yastam veda sa vedavit. Ashwatham means people tree, which is vast in size. Okay. Bhagavan brings this Ashwatha tree. Ashwatha means, it is a kind of a tree, so which has got a strong root. The root of this tree, it penetrates more than the size of the tree. That's what the glory of this people tree. There are two kinds of huge trees are given always in Shastra as the examples. One is Vatavriksha. Vatavriksha means that is banyan tree and people tree. The banyan trees are given example for Guru Parampara because it brings the stem down. They are supporting stems and they become roots. Okay, but this people tree, it has got its own glory. You cannot see the branches so dense, the leaves are so dense, you cannot see the branches. And you cannot find the root, the main root cannot be found. That's what the glory of this tree. Now this tree is given as an example for samsara. Samsara is like the tree. Now all the problems of the human beings are named as a samsara vriksha. A tree of samsara. The tree which is known as samsara. Samsara means what? Suffering. Now the suffering is described as the tree. How? Urdhvamolam, the tree which doesn't have the roots on the earth or in the earth or into the earth. The roots are upwards. Upwards means what? The roots are not found. So only trees can be experienced. The roots are upside. Urdhvamolam adhashakam. Only branches are visible. Branches means the leaves and trees are visible. And the samsara vriksha which is said to be avyayam. Avyayam means which doesn't have decay. Decayless. Chandamsya yasya parnani. Whose leaves are nothing but Vedas. Vedas means what? 4 Vedas. So whose leaves are Vedas means the sounds of Vedas. Unique tree, isn't it? Yaha tam Veda saha Vedavit. One who knows about it, he becomes the knower of it. This is a Vedantic language, one who knows about it, he becomes the knower of it. That's okay. Now how should I understand this tree? Upside down. Roots are not visible. Okay, it's a unique experience. And that too, it is said it is decayless. It doesn't decay. Okay, let us continue to the next words because Bhashyakara gives a long bhashya huge amount of bhashyas are given that we will come and see again. Adhaschodhvam prasatasya shakha guna pravruddha vishaya prabalaha adhascha mulanyanusantatani karmanu bandhini manushya loke. This tree having branches all over, the roots are not visible, only branches are visible. Tasya vrikshasya shakhaha adhascha urdhvam prasartaha. The branches of those trees, they are, seen everywhere. And top to bottom only branches and leaves. Guna pravruddhaha vishaya prabalaha. Now he brings the point. They are endowed with three gunas. They are mixed with three gunas. They have the characteristic of three gunas. And vishaya prabalaha. The sprouts, the small leaves also, they are endowed with the sense objects. Adhascha mulan anusantatani karmanu bandhuini manushya loke. See, now the roots are towards upside, but only the trees are coming down. It seems to be the tree only growing, becoming huge in size. It's a unique expression of the samsara of a human being. Now we will go back to the verse number 1. When he says, Urdhva Moolam means we cannot find the cause of our problems, but we fix the cause of our problem. That itself a wrong thing. No, we have to fix it. At least, human brain should work to avoid the problems, natural disaster and disease and the pollution from the environment. Everything must to be taken into account. We should have some kind of decision and conclusions and a plan. But here they say, so let the outside world be outside itself. Now you think about your life. Just for the sake of proper understanding, you imagine this body is the tree. Okay? So do you know the root of this body? So when it began, where it began, completely we are kept unknown to that subject matter. The cause of this body cannot be said, explained by even our parents. Our parents were amazed by seeing us. That's what the amazement, that after seeing a baby, it's a wonder. The cause of the baby. The parents cannot define the features of the baby. The parents, they don't have the capacity to fix the characteristic of a baby. So they don't know anything, but the baby comes. So which works to manufacture a body. In order to manufacture a car, we need to have so many equipments. No equipments at all. The parents eat what they eat, but there is a new spirit comes, a new creature comes out of it. The cause of this physical body itself is unknown to us. The cause of the ideas which comes, every thought, do you know where they are coming from? For example, you fix or place an apple on the table, allow many people to see it. Everyone will get a different thought. You cannot say this apple is the cause for it. Where they are connected, their thoughts are connected from somewhere. Sometimes we also amaze the thoughts which are taking place in our life. The roots are kept unknown. Roots are unknown. That is the first point of samsara. You cannot find the solution unless until when you are not aware about the cause of the problem is. Now the first point to be understood, something kept as unknown. The body is experienced by us. The experiences which are taking in the body, they are also kept secret, as the secret. Now the first thing is Moolam Urdhvam Bhavati. It is kept unknown to us. Then what? adhashakhaha, chandamsi yasya parunani. Vedas talks about the world. Every leaves of this tree has to be endowed with Vedas. We can call it a Vaidika tree, a tree of Vedas. If it is endowed with a leaf, then what? The tree will fructify good experience, good fruits. Fruits are what? Punya or Papa. If you are endowed with Vaidika, the rituals of Vedas, you will be fructifying what? Good fruits. The Vedas will help us to fructify a proper fruit. Otherwise, you will gain a fruit which brings a painful experience called papa. Now, this body is known as tree. The experience are which is known as fruits of the tree. And who fructifies that person who is the indweller of the body, ahankara. So one who knows this secret, now I am the fructifier. What is the cause of my ahankara? Why do I have an ahankara? Ahankara means he is the main center portion of this tree. He is the hero, means he is the main trunk, the source of tree. Every ahankara is different. Ahankara means what? Which, wakes every day in the morning, which becomes aware about the world and me. I am. That I am is ahankara. Now that ahankara is the main portion of this tree, we can understand this tree is nothing but our body, mind and sense complex and ahankara. This is the whole set of the tree. The one more understanding by learning these words is we will become aware about samsarasya doshaha, the defect of samsara. So somehow Bhagavan introduces from the first words, then by other two verses, second and third, he brings more solid understanding. I request you be bear with the teaching of Acharya. He will give a proper infrastructure about our physical and psychological causal system. In the last chapter, he gave the knowledge about gunatraya, means three gunas. Then also finally he gave the knowledge about gunatitaha. Now he is explaining samsara karanam, samsara swarupam, samsara lakshanam. This chapter is considered very important chapter because it's a very small chapter, but which is very potential and powerful chapter. Every verse is very important. Now we have seen the meaning a little bit of this verse number 1. We will continue this from the next session in simple way but in elaborate way. May the Lord Venkateshwara bless us to assimilate this chapter thoroughly and with patience. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.